Thank you for joining. This is going to be a really cool stream for the next 2 hours. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of questions around e-commerce. If you want to ask a question, I'm going to post a link right here. If you want to ask a question, there's a link to ask. I'm going to run through a little bit of the housekeeping before we start. There is like nothing crazy here. It's going to be really fun. There's like no wrong questions, really. If there is, I'll let you know. But the way this works is I just posted a link to the Shopify AMA board. We are going to be using the liking system in the Shopify AMA board, meaning I'm going to answer questions from the top down. Whichever has the most likes, I'm going to answer first. If you want to post a question, just give a quick screen to the questions already been answered, because there are some duplicates. That's okay. I'm not going to answer the duplicates. I'm just going to answer it once and then cool. So if you really have like a burning question, make sure you like it. If it's already been asked, like that one as well, so that it goes to the top. There's going to be a plenty of good back and forth. If you have questions, feel free to message actually in the stream chat, or you can ask like an actual question that's not just a follow-up actually on the AMA board. We're trying to put as much into the Shopify ecosystem as possible. Shout out to the Shopify folks that ever helped putting this together. They have been a absolutely immensely positive resource for not only us, but for the small businesses that we help as well. They do an absolutely kick-ass job. So thank you out to them. Right on. My name is Matthew. I am one of the co-owners of 2H Media. We're a Shopify agency in Guelph, Ontario. So let's kick this off. Let's dive right in. Give me a second, we'll dive right in. Here we are. So like I said, most likes, we're gonna jump right into this first one. Let's go through it. So typically I read the question. I'll read the question, I'll provide some answers. And what's gonna happen after this stream is we're going to post these answers back here. So you're gonna give us a couple of days, then you're gonna actually have like the full answer back into the AMA. So you're gonna do a live stuff with me today, and then in a few days, you're gonna actually have the question answered on the board itself. So cool. TikTok shop influencers, commissions, and whitelisted ads. Hi there, we produce and sell health supplement drink powder, subscription and one-time purchases, and we're considering TikTok Shop to be our main marketing/sales channel by using Cyril to recruit influencers for promotional user-generated content and giving them a percentage of commission for every sale they bring in, and possibly running whitelisted ads on some of the top performing accounts. Cyril is costly and will be the first time we've played with this platform and TikTok in general. We're looking to try new things after seeing floundering results with meta ads in my previous company. Do you think this is a sound strategy? Do you have any advice for making this the most effective? Yes. And that's by Jake. Jake, great question. I'm gonna leave this on screen, so you're just gonna get a little picture on me right now. Yeah, that's a really, really good question. So I'm gonna recap this really cool. You're on Shopify already. You're considering going into TikTok with user-generated content and influencers. Cool. And the way that works for everyone that isn't super familiar with this is those influencers are going to end up getting matched through the platform of Cyril, and they're going to get a code. And when that code is used at checkout, it's going to actually track what influencers were driving what sales. And there's a whole bunch of back-end magic, and the influencers get paid. It's essentially, you're turning someone into a commission salesperson, an influencer into a commission salesperson. They get paid when you get paid. It's actually a pretty cool system. This has existed for a long, long time outside of using an app to do this. So this is just like hiring someone based on commission. Cool. You're selling health supplement drink powder. Again, that stuff performs fairly well on social media. So let's actually break into this. If you've never worked with an influencer before, I would definitely dabble with actually taking a small investment and reaching out to some influencers in the health space to start and seeing what those rates actually are to work with them. So when we're comparing platform costs, so Cyril's cost can be the first time you've played with this platform, I would start slow. So like testing technology, we always want to have like, we're testing people and the people using technology. So like the technology is just the tool and the people using the tool are really, really important. So I would reach out to a bunch of influencers first and see if you can do some collabs that way to get your feet wet. Otherwise, just putting that content out there and letting them run with it, you might get some results, you might not get some results, but I definitely want you to get a little bit play around with that first. Additionally, if you are new to TikTok in general, that doesn't really lend a lot of credibility to the ads themselves. So if you don't already have a presence, it doesn't really help. So like if you've got a really small Instagram account, if you've got a really small Facebook account, if you've got a really big, so lots and lots of individuals, and yourself included, will probably see something cool online, and then you're going to do a little bit of digging, and you go, what the heck is this company? This is cool. Like the ad was impressive, but like what the heck is this? What the heck is this? I've never heard of it. I'm just discovering it for the first time. I definitely want there to be some build out on the profile to actually make it look legit. You said you've seen some floundering results in Meta ads, previous company. Okay, with advertising, was the ad not performing? Was the website not performing? Like what was actually not working in that case? I don't know the details there. So like some ads don't perform, some websites don't perform, some combination of both. So typically, to the crux of the question is, do you think this is a sound strategy, and do you have any advice for making this the most effective? Yeah, build out the TikTok account, work with some influencers outside of an app. Before we make it more complicated with an app, we'll just work with them directly, and that's fairly straightforward. Just reach out to a bunch of them and actually form a relationship, talk to them. If you can get that working, then I would explore automating that process. So like Cyril is the automated version of working with an influencer. Before we get to automation, we want to actually test that process and make sure it works ahead of time before we throw automation into the mix. Once the automation is in the mix, great. That's why Cyril comes in, and it's costly because now you won't have to do your bit. You won't have to do the communication. You won't have to find the influencers. You won't have to actually build the relationships. They're going to take that workload off your plate for a fee. So do it manually to start, and this is like almost true of all things, manually to start for testing, get it to a point that you're happy with it, then automate. Cool? And then yeah, just the heads up on like make the accounts look like really good, and put a bunch of like cool, funny promotional content. So engaging, funny is the wrong word, engaging content is the right way to do it. Make it engaging. Make it on point. If you can get any social proof in there, yeah, do it that way. That's what I would do. That's what we would typically recommend for most social media. Make it social, don't make it media. But good question. Very good question. Obviously TikTok is a huge platform. If you've already identified that as like kind of a sweet spot where your potential customers are, I can't argue with that at all. So like that could be a really good idea. Do it manually. Start slow, dip the toes in, get it working, jump in head first. Fairly normal, but good. The next one. Let's get into this. Cool. Next question. Okay, this comes from WMMV. How to drive traffic when just starting a new brand. It's like, hi, I'm a new beverage brand. What are the best ROI strategies I can deploy to create brand awareness and drive traffic to my new website? Where to start? So this is like a super general question. We've already got someone down here. I read through this. There's a little bit before this. So like optimizing site speed for fast loading. That's like once you're already there. I want to talk about actually getting bums in seats, eyeballs on screen first. So let's talk about we're a new brand. So like super common, we're a new brand. Let's go take a page out of what retail does. When there's a new store opening in your town, what do? It's a brand new brand. It's a new, they just took over the lease of a building. Cool. They put a grand opening sign up. They talk to all of the community leaders. They talk to their local politicians. They talk to everyone that's in their business complex that has a neighbor business. They send out some direct mailers. They do a whole bunch of activities to build awareness around a grand opening. That is typically lost when it comes to online brands, and it's kind of a big mistake. We want to tell everyone that we're like new. We're new. Cool. New is exciting and fun. We want to do all of those same things that a traditional business does, and the online ones as well. So that includes getting your social media profiles active, following a bunch of people in the space, commenting on all of their posts, building content yourself. Great, getting that out there. I would talk to all the other businesses in your city that are somewhat even related to your industry. So if it's a beverage brand, so I don't know if that's like an energy beverage or it's something healthy, but whatever, I would be looking at who are all my friends. Who are all my potential friends locally? Because if I can't win locally, it's gonna be really hard to win nationally or globally. So like I should be able to just crush it in my own backyard because I have all of the advantage. So I would start local, and to build that all up, I would do tastings where I can possibly happen. I would be talking to, again, local politicians. Can I get some video with them trying it? Can I do something that's fun and engaging? Great, and that's all in the effort of brand awareness and traffic. So we don't even care about conversion yet. We do not care about how many people are reaching the checkout page. We need more people signing up to our email list, signing up to or following us on social media. We need people talking about us. We need to build a little bit of word of mouth. Great, because the website is going to perform the worst right now. It's brand new. There's been no testing. It's going to be at a state of like, this isn't great. That's okay. We just want as many people to know us as possible. So I would go and look at what do other businesses in my community typically do when they're just starting. I would heavily take influence from the ones that have done a good job at that point. And then you're going to need to start essentially advertising after that. So the big grand opening, all of the traditional things need to happen. And then I would be doing actually advertising to get people onto the site. So a little bit less. If you're brand new, there's a big misconception with SEO. SEO is a long-term play. So I can't like not advise SEO, but like, yeah, if you want to be a business in 10 years, great. I would start your best SEO practices today. And then in like a whole bunch of years, it's going to be like really working out for you. That's not going to help your short-term goals at all. But it's a good practice. Label your images, good headings. I would be getting a Google My Business up. I'd be starting to harvest reviews. I'd be doing a whole bunch of things in that room. But on the short term, you're going to need lots and lots of traffic, and you're not going to be attracting any organic. So you're going to need to have an advertising budget. You're going to need to have some type of marketing budget for sure. So that could be ads on Bing, Google, Facebook, Meta, wherever like the type of beverage brand you've got. But you do need to have an advertising strategy in place. You do need to have a marketing budget. But like again, when you're new, you should be doing a grand opening for sure. For sure. Cool. The next one. Cool, conversion. Okay, this is an interesting question. Very interesting question. By Doro, conversion, titled conversion. What is the best indicator to understand why traffic on website is not converting into sales yet? What should I look at or change? Okay, so there's not like one key indicator, but I'm gonna go through a few. Typically, when we are working with a website, we end up building a dashboard, which is, we use Looker Studio to build dashboards. And there's a few things that we're gonna look at. So one of them is time on page. So it's like, great, they landed on the page. How long did they spend on the page? And if it's really, really short, it means the content above the fold. So like, if you think about a newspaper, the above the fold content is like the first content they see without any scrolling. So if the time on page is really, really low, it means that initial content was not speaking to them. They came from somewhere and they landed there and they said, that's not where I wanted to be because the click and the landing content don't match. So they leave. Cool. The next metric where we look at, and this is like no particular order, but it's kind of all works together, would be scroll depth. How much of the content on the page did they actually see? So did they scroll 10% of the page and then leave? Did they scroll 25%? So I can automatically assume now if you only scrolled a little bit and you only saw a little bit, that little bit needs to be the most impactful little bit possible. So if you don't have any additional, you want to put the important stuff at the top. We're trying to get all that information into people's eyes so they can see it to make a good assumption. We would then take a look at how many clicks does it take to actually get to where people are looking for. So department stores do a really good job of this. Your website should be organized in a way that's super intuitive. That means like your header structure is really well organized. Your product categories are really organized and make sense. It should take the least amount of clicks possible to get from like where I land in the site to like what I'm actually looking for. So your ads need to like lead to like the furthest possible point in conversion possible. So if I'm advertising like a blue pair of shoes, I need to have that landing page be a blue pair of shoes. It can't be a different shoe. It can't be a collection of shoes. It needs to be like what I just saw. I'm interested in the blue shoes. I clicked the blue shoes and now I'm on the blue shoe page. So if we're getting a lot of like clicking around, that's normally not good. Most people, and you can do this yourself, most people aren't exploring websites. I'm not clicking through 40 collections. I'm on your site with somewhat of a purpose, even subliminally or subconsciously going, I'm here looking for this, and I'm going to naturally try to navigate the site to go like, I'm looking for the thing that I came here for. I'm not just like wasting my time clicking all over the place. So the least amount of clicks possible. If you are getting add to carts or abandoned carts, things like that, I would be looking at how is the communication on the site in terms of explaining your shipping policies, explaining where you ship, including any fees that are associated with that. So like the big one is free shipping or flat rate. So and free can be conditional. So like I gotta get that communication all over the place. It's free shipping for orders more than $125. Great, I need to have that in like more than one place. The banner's fine, but I need to have that over and over and over again. I don't want shipping, I don't want experiencing any surprises at checkout. They're like, I just need them to put their credit card information. There's some other indications on the site that are not necessarily based on metrics. It's how is your photography? Do you have product video? Are the web pages like in the realm of your competition? Like, are the web pages good? Like, are they good? And it's not like good like, oh yeah, I think they're good. It's good as in like, who is your direct competitor? Let's compare those. Let's run that race together and see where you're at. That might mean that you need some actual professional design. If you're doing hand carved one-of-a-kind jewelry, it might need that you need more photos. It might need that you need people in the photos. You need like more engaging content. So like when someone's coming there, especially if it's jewelry and this thing is now priced at $310 because it's like made of whatever, it needs to look like this product page is built to sell something that's $310. It can't look like it's selling 99-cent socks. So it does need to look the part. Ideally it's clean, it's easy to read. There's enough written content on the page that someone can actually learn a little bit about it. Conversion's a really interesting one because it's not like a flat, here I would look at this. It's multifaceted. You're probably doing some things right and you're probably doing some things wrong. So that does muddy up the water a little bit, but it's a good question. At the end of this, I am going to post a link so that if you did want to book a strategy meeting with us, you'd have one of our pros actually take a look at this. So, which is cool. Back to the list. Great. Next one here. Cool. Traffic from Linda 7. I barely have any traffic coming to my site. I have optimized site for SEO. How can I get more traffic to my site? Straight up. I'm gonna paint you a picture. If you had a physical store, a retail store, a B2B business, you would have a big sign. You would be located on a road or a parking lot. You'd have a whole bunch of external traffic. There'd be a whole bunch of walk-by traffic. There'd be a whole bunch of like people seeing you. You would like, maybe you've got like a branded van or something like that. You'd have a whole bunch of things peripherally to your business. Online, we get none. We get no foot traffic. There's nothing. If we don't work for the traffic, we don't get traffic. And this is where SEO and small business really don't mix. So there are some industries that do really, really well with SEO fairly quickly. If you're in a service-based business, if you're in the trades, if you're doing house cleaning, if you're doing something like that, it works really, really well because the search algorithms know that you're not competing against the business in Taiwan. You're not competing against the business that's 300 kilometers away. You're competing with the 4 other house cleaning businesses in your city. So like pretty much you're like on page 1 or 2 fairly quickly. And the more reviews you get, cool. So you can gain those rankings really fast. Online businesses, e-commerce businesses, you are competing with everyone. You're competing with the business that's down the street. You're competing with the business that's in a different state. You're competing with the business that's on a different continent. So SEO for small business is very difficult to do because you are competing against much larger teams with much larger budgets that are doing all of the SEO things as well. And they're probably better at it than you, and they've got more money at it than you. So it's very difficult to compete that way. What you do have advantage of is you can move faster than the big ships. So small ships turn quick. You should be doing all of the normal things to actually drive traffic. You need to be active on social media. If you're a brand and you're not active on social media, I would get active on social media. I would start promoting your content daily. I post a day. We start this with a marketing budget. Small businesses need 2 types of budgets: time, money. Typically, small businesses don't have a whole lot of money. That's okay. You should have a bunch of time. If you don't have either, it's going to be really hard for you to succeed. So you need to have either time, money, or both. The big businesses have both. The small businesses typically only have one or the other. With that time, you need to say, I've got 4 hours a week for marketing. What can I do to maximize those 4 hours? And that might mean I need to spend 4 hours a week per building content. I need to put 4 hours a week into making more money to pay someone for ads. I need to do something with that marketing budget. If you don't have a time budget, it's going to be very difficult for you to do this. And again, SEO is just it's not great for small business. It's great if you've got time on your side going, hey, I'm still going to be a small business in 5 years. Great. Like I said before, start it today. The oak tree will grow in 20 years and you'll love it. It's not a fast solution. It's not a short-term solution at all. So you need to find activities that are going to capture someone's interest very quickly. So yeah, time budget, an advertising budget, and like a word of mouth budget. So no traffic means you got to hunt for more traffic. No fast answer. There's no free lunch on online. There's zero free lunch. I wish there was, but the days of like 2002 websites are back in 2002. Give me a second. Let's get the next question up here. That one's really generic. I am going to answer this one. even though there's an accepted solution. That's sweet. Someone was kind enough to answer some of these questions ahead of time, which is totally fine. But yeah, I definitely want to answer this one. How can small fashion brands grow e-commerce visibility with limited resources? Cool. Hi, Matthew and Aaron. Hello, Maria. I'm a solo founder running a sustainable women's wear label, managing everything myself. Congratulations, cool. From designer to production to customer service, my Shopify site is live, but gaining consistent traffic and converting it into sales has been a huge challenge, especially without a big marketing budget. What would you recommend as the most effective low-cost way to grow visibility and sales for small independent fashion brands like mine? I'm specifically curious about prioritizing SEO versus social media versus email marketing, making storytelling effective on platforms like Instagram, and then growing an email list. Okay, this is a great question. Let's break this down. Okay, so you're doing everything yourself. You're starting a business. Awesome. Like, that is entrepreneurship 101. So like, great. You're wearing a lot of hats. Like, so just straight up, kind of necessity to start. So like, don't treat this as like a bad thing. You're gonna be wearing a lot of hats for a little while. That's okay. So curious about prioritizing SEO versus social media versus email marketing. Okay, cool. I'm gonna break these things down. I've already talked a lot about SEO. I'm gonna repeat it again because it'll be found in this question. SEO is a long-term play. It's still important in the short term, but like not nearly as important as other things. So like, I wouldn't prioritize it. I would just follow best practices. I would label your images, have good headings, detailed product descriptions, start capturing reviews, great. But like, I wouldn't be trying to focus on like maximizing your website speed and buying the right domain name. Like, nope, like just do the basics. Which leaves us to social media versus email marketing. Email marketing, and jump to the latter. Email marketing is normally very effective. It's very, very effective once you've got an audience that says, yeah, keep me posted. But you start an email list from zero. Cool. I wouldn't be putting a whole bunch of effort into the marketing part of this until your email list is some kind of substantial size. So I wouldn't be crafting beautiful emails and putting a whole bunch of images and getting it out if my email list is only 75 people. Like our max audience is 75 people. That is like too limited. So I would be focusing on growing the list. You can run contests. You can do a whole bunch of things to actually incentivize people to follow the email, to get on the list in the first place, to grow it out. And once you've got some critical mass on email marketing, I would say, yeah, like turn that engine on. Before they get into email marketing, they need to find about your brand in the first place. So that's like lower down the list. And that leaves social media. Social media is like the discovery tool that most businesses use. I would be prioritizing the video components of social media. So I'll use Instagram as an example. There's a few different posting types in Instagram. You've got posts, you've got stories, you've got reels. Cool. Posts typically only go to people already following you. So if you've got a small following, you make a post, it's only going to be seen by a small amount of people. The same thing for stories. If I post a story, it's only going to go to people that are already following me. So if I've got a small following, I'm going to make a story, and it's only going to, the maximum visibility is going to be kept very, very, very small. A reel is the discovery tool in the platform. So if I make a reel, and this is like true of TikTok, this is going to be true of most, the discovery tools are typically video. I'm going to make this cool video. It's going to go to my existing audience. So I've kind of hit the people that are following me, and now it'll become more discoverable because it's going to go into people's normal swiping patterns. It's going to be findable from people that are not following me, and that's going to be much more beneficial than static content or like static posting or stories. So I would prioritize being more discoverable, which is like building video. The social media side of the platform, video. And it's got to be more social than media. So if you're just like posting a video of like your thing, I'll say fashion brand, like your purse on like a table, it's like, that's a commercial. I want this to be social. I want this to be very social. If it's not social, don't bother doing it because no one's going to share it. No one's going to like it. No one is liking someone's, nobody, like again, unless you're a huge business, no one's liking your commercials. Cool. Making storytelling effective on platforms like Instagram, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So your bullet 2, making the storytelling effective on Instagram, that's what I would highlight. I would highlight that immensely. So I would find some other brands that do it well, that are in your space, and they don't need to be competitors, but I would be finding other brands. I would be taking some inspiration from them, or different industries. You can look to food. You can look to anything in like the food space or anything the other creative spaces, and I'd be like, what can I do that's more storytelling? So behind the scenes, how it's made, let's unbox, let's actually build some hype around this. But again, building fun and engagement, cool. Storytelling is hard because like typically I need a hook in the first few seconds of the video for someone to want to watch the video. So you're going to need to factor that in. You're going to need to say, I can't just have a beginning, a middle, and end. I kind of need to put the end at the beginning, and then the beginning in the middle, and the middle at the end, so that I actually get people. And that's why they do like the sandwich open first, so that you get to see the sandwich, and now you're watching how it's made. They don't start with the bread that's really boring. They start with like the fun, juicy bit. So there's going to need to be some strategy there. And then growing an email list from scratch. So, okay. Typically, brands are doing this organically. So if you're a small fashion brand, I would be going to some trade shows. I'd be going to some markets. I'd be getting in front of some people. That is going to open you up to some selling opportunities, as well as like, great, can I do a contest? I'm going to give this away. You need to put your name down, and you need to opt into our stuff. I need to create value. I need to create value. So great, how does this work? In order for me to give you my email, I need to feel like I'm getting something in return. That's a value exchange. I'm not just gonna give you my email for the sake of giving it. So what do I get in return? I'm gonna give you something, what do I get? Most people don't just sign up to get a bunch of email ads, promotions, unless they really like the brand or there's something in it for them. So you need to find some kind of value exchange. Typically, businesses are doing either a loss leader or a lead magnet, if you've ever heard that term before, like how to download our sizing guide, download our 2025 shopping thingy, our gift giving guide, something where I want the free resource, but in order to get it, I got to give an email. So you're gonna need to create some kind of value exchange to actually get those emails. And at some point when I've got enough of those emails, then I will start that marketing. So the list has to start, you have to start gathering them. We use Klaviyo. You don't need to use a paid professional tool like Shopify does start harvesting emails for you. Eventually you're going to want to use something that's more robust than Shopify, but it's a great place to start. But very good question. Very, very good question. Let's get to the next one. This is an interesting one. Let us do it. This one's coming from Jim Jam 1. Sweet name, Jim Jam 1. Okay, what is the number one website fix to improve conversion? This is going to be different based on the industry. There's going to be the biggest one that I've seen, even before we get again, the answer down here, better content. Let's talk about this for a little bit. So conversion means that I want it. You are trying to make me want it. In the physical, when I go shopping and I go to Sport Check and I'm looking for a pair of shoes, I go to the wall with all the shoes on them. I get to see them all. And my eyes are not perfect, I wear glasses, but I get to see them all. So just like your website, you should be able to see them. And then not only am I able to see them, I get to pick them up. I can feel the quality, I can feel the stitching. I can't do that online. So I don't get the same experience. I get to wear them. I get to walk around the store a little bit. I get to see how they feel. I'm gonna maybe try them on with some other clothing and see if it all works. Great, I get to use the abundance of my senses to make my shopping decision. Online, I get to use the sense of sight. That's it. I only get to see. I don't get to feel, I don't get to taste, I don't get to smell, I don't get to anything. I get sight. So if you're not having great visual content on the site, that's pictures and video, you're doing yourself a disservice. So your pictures and video need to be very good. Very, very, very good. And that will help conversion immensely because now you've made me want the thing. And yes, there are other things like, simplifying the checkout process and communicating fees clearly. Yep, those are all the basic ones. They're reducing friction. But the number one way to improve conversion is have better content. Better content is the biggest driver on things. If better content just makes people want it, it makes people want to share it, it makes people want to talk about it, it makes people want to buy again. Yeah. Content's king. Content is absolutely king. The next one, we're flying. We're doing good here. Oh wow, this is a big one. This is a big one. That's okay. Into the next one. Cool. Getting traffic, marketing, social media, and making sales. This is just a huge one. So AR772, we have a bunch of questions here. So let's try and go through a few of these. What are the top 3 things I can do to improve my Shopify store and increase sales? Yeah, we've gone through that a little bit. Better content. Better content, better content, better content. More content sooner. So above the fold content needs to be good. Simplify the navigation. Yeah, that's probably How do I make my product pages more attractive to customers? Okay, that's an interesting one. There's a stat, Aaron and I always talk about this. There's a stat, I don't have the details off it. I think it came out of Shopify. Simply having a product video on the page increases conversion, even if someone doesn't watch the video. And it's not like it's a significant amount. So how do I make my product pages more attractive? Customer reviews, product video, good product images themselves, more text. I would remove the FAQ section from your website entirely and answer the questions where they're asked. The days are long gone of people hunting down and reading all the FAQ questions. If it's a frequently asked question, you should frequently answer it. Don't bury it on a page full of other general questions. Answer it. So if it's asked a lot, put it where it's asked. What apps or tools do you recommend to optimize store performance? That one's really a difficult question. Tools are exactly what they say. Tools are tools. Tools go towards problems. There's no there's no recommendation I can make unless there's an actual problem. Optimized store performance is not a problem. So I get where you're going with it, but when the plumber shows up, they don't bring they identify the problem first, and then they go back to the service brand and bring in the 3 right tools to fix the problem. That's the way you should treat your digital business as well. Identify the problem and then match the tool to the problem. Don't go, what tools should I use? I would say, what problem do you have? What problem do you have? How do I effectively promote my products on Facebook group and pages? That is a huge one. Facebook groups are wildly popular, and this is community groups of everything. This goes for Reddit, this goes for Facebook, this goes for pretty much every single hashtag that's ever been invented. Great. How do I effectively promote them? I would look to figure out, I would build some user personas. If you've not heard of a user persona before, I would create them. I'd figure out where your users spend the most time and where they are influenced, and then I would go to those places. I would talk to those Facebook group admins or the admin on a Reddit channel, and I would learn more about what the advertising practices I can do in that group are, and then I would follow the rules before you get banned out of that group. Most people are not looking for a bunch of service providers to hijack a Facebook group or a community to advertise. That's not why they're there. They're there to learn, they're there to collaborate, they're looking to learn to be part of a community. You need to be part of a community. So if you want to share advice and things like that and build trust, great. Most admins of groups will not let businesses come in and advertise that way because it just ruins the group. What kind of content should I post on social media to drive sales? Social content. Social content, big time. It's social media. It's not media. So include yourself. I don't know how many Instagram accounts I've seen where the owner or the brand itself is not there and it's just product. It's why the heck would I follow you if you're just posting stuff about your it's just product. It's that is not social at all. So you need to find some good examples of what is social. Something funny, something controversial, something engaging, something topical, something meme-worthy, something that has some substance, and I would start creating that. How do I turn first-time buyers into repeat customers? That is not something that you should worry about as a brand just getting started. Very, very difficult to do. If I bought a pair of shoes from you, I don't need another pair of shoes tomorrow. So it depends on what you're selling. It depends if the product is consumable or not. Typically that's building brand loyalty is the last thing on the buyer's journey. So lots of things to fix before that one. I wouldn't dive into that or focus on it at all until you've solved a whole bunch of the other things. So yeah, your 2 questions, how do I turn first-time customers into repeat customers? And then you've got, what is the best marketing strategy for a small e-commerce business just starting out? Those 2 things should never be side by each. Those are 2 very different problems. So don't focus on that at all. Focus on the earlier problems. Best marketing strategy? The strategy is based on the business type. Most small businesses have an advantage over large ones that never get used. And it's the power of relationships. I have no relationship to Walmart, or to Amazon or to Nike or to any of them. I've got no relationship with them. I don't know who the CFO is. I don't know who's doing the whatever. I have no idea. When I'm working with a small business, you have the opportunity to build a bunch of brand loyalty with the actual person running the business. And that means the business owner needs to be a business owner, not like a behind the scenes, you'll never see me because I just want to run if you want to run it on the side, great, but then you're removing all of the advantage you have as a business owner. A business owner, you kind of need to be in front, interacting with customers, talking to people. I'm sure you've had this yourself where you've gone into like the deli or the cheese shop or your hair salon and the owner's there. The owner's going to make you feel special. And you're going to have even then, if you're not working with them directly, it's like if they take 3 seconds to interact with you, they're typically building that relationship. You need to do the same thing. You need to have a relationship with your customers. How do I use SEO to bring more traffic to my Shopify store? That's just it. SEO does that. It just doesn't do that on the short term. So there are some best practices to follow. So just for everyone here, SEO, search engine optimization, is the act of becoming more optimized for a search engine, finding you and matching you to a search. The algorithms that Google and Microsoft and they all use are not public. Obviously, if they were public, they would get gamed immediately. So they give us some best practices. The best practices change all the time. They update them. They say, here's what's important. They don't tell us the weightings. They don't say like, this is the most impactful and this is the least impactful. There's a large category of variables that go into it. So I think Google's using like 250 different variables for search rankings. And they tell us some of them. Some of them you can update and change, some of the other ones you can't. So the age of your domain authority, you can't really change by yourself. So you can't make your domain 20 years older. The older domains have more authority than ones that were just created yesterday. Things that you can change, title your images, better images, more images, have a Google merchant account, have a Google Google business profile, have a bunch of user-generated content on the page, have your headings and everything make sense, have more written content. There's like the non-technical aspect of SEO where business owners should thrive is just like building more content. Build more content. The technical stuff is way too technical to get into on an AMA, and again it's marginal increases. There's like a big misconception that like we have this magic SEO button that we can flip and suddenly you're gonna get traffic. It doesn't exist. And then, can you recommend good email marketing practices to convert visitors into customers? Let's just say you've got a decent list and you've got a big list. Great. There's a few things that we factor in first. So there's multiple percentages here. So the first things first is I need people to click my email, which means I need a good subject line. And that's what the first thing people are going to see. So an effective subject line that's direct to the point, fun, engaging. The subject line is like the biggest thing that's associated with good open rate. Cool. Let's just say we have got good open rate. Let's just say we've got like a 50% open rate. And now they're in the email itself. That email needs to be direct and to the point as well. It's like, hey, we're running an ad. We're running the 2-for-1 spring sale. And I need to give you the details. I'm going to create some scarcity. It's only for the next week. Buy 2, get 1, something. It needs to be plain as day. I don't need a story in email. I don't want to do a blog through email. A blog belongs on your website with a link through the email saying read our blog. I want all the SEO value on the website. I get no SEO value out of a long ass email. So direct to the point, good photos in the email. So like great, the 2-for-1 ad on the shoes for the springtime shoes, great, good photos. And then a big button, explore our 2-for-1 shoes, big button. So I need a pathway for someone to actually explore the shoes. Cool. So good subject line, straight to the point, easy to navigate. And then the email doesn't need to be 4 miles long. There's a whole bunch of stuff there that you can like do to like A/B test subject lines and stuff. Again, from a small business perspective, don't worry about it. Like you're probably not large enough to have 40,000 email subscribers. And if you are, I would get a full-time position in your business to actually manage a 40,000 person list. Good questions though. Very good questions. Again, start with the problem, and this is going to be like every business. We are not hunting for solutions. We are actually hunting for problems. We are going to determine the problem first, and then we're going to bring in a solution. So if you don't have the problem clearly identified, there's no solution that's going to fix it. Let's jump to the next one. Well, that was good. Oh, this is an interesting one. This might be a little bit too technical. Hold on a second here. Yeah, this is going to be... I'm going to skip this one. The AliExpress question is a little bit too specific. As a beginner, where should I start? I like this. This question's a little bit better. Cool. Okay, from Mohammed, great. As a beginner, where should I start? As a beginner to Shopify, what are the essential basics I should know? Where should I start my online store successfully? Okay, this is like the true thing of pretty much every business we've seen, and it starts with your value proposition. This is like the whole thing. It's, if you're not familiar with the value proposition, you're going to have to Google it. I've got some resources I'll share at the end of this for value props. It's how do you help people is essentially it. It's a 3-part question. It's who do you help, how do you help them, and why you're better than your competition. That's it. So you need to know those 3 things first before you start at all. We find this problem a lot. It's unanswered with people that are doing drop shipping. It's what is your, again, who is your customer, how do you help them, and how you are better. And the drop shipping fails at the 3rd one. You are not better because everyone is able to match your price with the same product. There's no uniqueness. It's very difficult to stand out. For other small businesses, the value proposition is really easy. We make gourmet cheese from like a whatever, US cattle for people that really like cool stuff. Yeah, and we're better because we don't put any antibiotics or whatever. I need to have that value proposition. And that's like the living, breathing life force of a business that we can't break that. So what do we do? Who do we do it for? Why we're better. Cool. So the reply here, mobile friendly theme, start off with what the business is, the fundamentals of the business. Fundamentals. So where should I start my online store successfully? If that's the online store needs to communicate that value proposition big time. That's where it starts. You're going to end up making product videos and all of the other things. The value proposition is going to have to be very, very clear throughout. You don't have one, it's going to be very, very hard for you to actually work with someone as well. It's how do you communicate, if you're working with any service provider, they should be asking what is the goals of the business? What does the business do well in order for them to actually bring that stuff to the table as well. So that's the most impactful thing is that being clear. Some of the big players don't even have their value proposition nailed down. So we are doing good here. We are doing good. Let's jump to this one. SEO, how much? From Maremba. SEO, do we need that on every product or a general site? What is the best tool for doing this? Okay. If you're a small business, and again, I'm trying to answer all the questions because they're going to have to come back here. From a small business standpoint, there's great diminishing returns on SEO. You could spend $1 million and still not be on page 1. We need to focus on, if you are going to go down this road, you need to identify what products. So if your store has 100 products, we can't do everything to all products. That's ridiculous. I need the top 10%, the top 10. So even on your homepage, the landing image is probably only going to have 1 product in it, not your whole collection. Your value proposition isn't Amazon. Your value proposition isn't we have everything under one roof. It's like the small business mistake number one, offer too many things. So the content you are building needs to be focused around what you're good at. And because you don't have an infinite time and an infinite money budget like the bigger businesses have, you need to consolidate that down. So I'd be building content around like your top 10% of products. Again, another stat Aaron and I like to highlight all the time is the best performing Shopify stores have 12 products or less. 12 or less from a small and medium-sized business standpoint. They have 12 or less. If you are spread too thin, you don't have enough time to make anything actually work, and you don't have the resources to highlight the value of those things. So we want to have a bunch of product, like 12 or less, that are absolutely killers. We don't want to. We're not a retail store where we got to fill the shelf space. An online store has infinite shelf space. The goal is not to be infinitely large. The goal is to do a few things really well. So identify what needs to be working really well. Identify your like hero products, what you want to be known for, and then pour resources into that. That's where I would be doing that. So the first thing I'd be like, can I cut a whole bunch of products off the store? Great. There is going to be some like general SEO that you're going to get off the hop, like your business name, probably your location. There's some basics. The best tool for doing like SEO on Shopify is the platform itself. I wouldn't like necessarily need a small business tool. There are outside tools that we use, Screaming Frog, Ahrefs, things like that, where we are able to analyze other businesses' sites and then draw conclusions based on them. So like, how does your site compare? That's not like a Shopify specific tool. Those tools are fairly expensive. So like typically you're going to like an agency or a freelancer that is using that tool amongst a bunch of stores. The best tool is creating content. Creating content, like you need more. Your product pages need more design. They need more, like go to like any product page from a larger business. Like if you go to Apple, their product page for the iPhone 14 is 3 miles long. And it's got 14 sections about the camera. It's got sections on how the screen works. It's got like all of the things. Now you don't need to try to compete against Apple because that's impossible, but you do need to have enough content on your product pages that makes sense. And having 3 bullet points and like 2 paragraphs is typically not enough. So more and more content. And again, SEO, again, this is like, there's only so much like you're gonna be able to put into this before you're going like, well, how, for every $300 a month you spend on SEO, how many sales does that need to bring in for this to make sense? I would rather just pay for advertising. So if you're paying an SEO provider $300 to $500 a month for SEO, I would really love for that person to give you an ROI saying, well, my $500 of SEO brought in $2,000 worth of sales. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I would go back to that provider saying, this is my marketing budget. My marketing budget just literally needs to make me more money. How is this making more money? I doubt it's meeting that goal. This is an interesting one. Give me a second. Let me see this one. Okay, this is a great one, actually. This is a great one. My JK Treasures website has only 12 sales since opening in January. How can I increase sales? This is from JK Treasures. Okay, cool. I was ticking along nicely on eBay for years, paying their private sellers fees, and then they forced me to change into a business account where the fees are around 18.6% when you add all the different fee components up, which often completely cancels out any profits I stand to make. I don't work on big profit margins as I sell jewelry to make a reasonable living because I love it. Cool. I really love that. I've had to raise my prices, which understandably have caused my eBay sales to dry up. As such, I decided in January to set up my own business on Shopify called JK Treasures. Since then, I've only had 12 sales. I've had positive comments from people who have looked at my site and know my prices are competitive. I am almost daily posting on my items on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, but it hasn't really made a difference. I know the first advice will be to pay for promotions, but I don't have the finances to do that. As I said previously, I work on small profit margins. I'm really not very tech savvy, and I've struggled to do what I'm doing so far, but I'd be very grateful if someone could look at my site and tell me if I'm doing anything wrong somewhere and maybe give me some advice on actions I can take that won't cost a lot. Thank you in advance. Great question. Okay, first things first. You are probably doing well on eBay because eBay is a marketplace. eBay is a marketplace, so big difference between Shopify site or like owned content versus marketplace. eBay, like Amazon, is going to have, you are going to get foot traffic because people are going to use that as a search platform and they're going to say jewelry and you are going to be potentially one of those sellers. So like that's the same thing as paying Google for when someone types in jewelry and now you're one of the sellers. Cool. The platform is naturally going to have content as well because it's going to have all like the people also bought and also recommended and everything. The platform's trying to help you sell because they get a stake in what you sell. Like they're motivated to have more revenue driven through the platform because that's how they make money. So cool. I would look into other platforms. So you were on eBay for years paying their private seller fees. If you can't, or if you don't have big budget for more visitors, I would look at other marketplaces. I would be looking at Etsy. I'd be looking at potentially Amazon. The 18.6% of fees, I would be looking at going, how do I stomach some of that and increase my prices? If everyone is paying 18.6% because that's the platform cost, that means all the jewelry makers are paying that 18.6. That's just flat ecosystem rate. Everyone's paying that. That means I don't actually have to worry about that. I can charge for my pricing accordingly because no one has an advantage over me. If everyone's paying the 18.6, I'm paying the 18.6, price your products accordingly. Now, as soon as you move into a Shopify store, obviously that 18.6 goes away, right? But then your traffic goes to zero. There's no platform advantage anymore. There's nothing. You get the full margin of your product, but now I need to drive the traffic myself. Typically businesses have some kind of marketing budget. We normally are working with budgets between 10, 13, 14, 15% for marketing. So once you start throwing a marketing budget of 10 to 15% plus like credit card transaction fees, we're back at 18.6. It's like there's no big split between having a Shopify store and paying for marketing, and then another platform. They're fairly even. That ecosystem, there's no free lunch there. So I'm glad to hear that you're posting on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and YouTube about your products. Those sound just like commercials. I don't want a bunch of product on those social accounts. I want social on those social accounts. How does that necklace make me feel? How does what is going on with those products? I haven't obviously looked at them because I'm just answering this live. But I definitely need to have those. So I would be looking at your social media accounts going, what is the engagement on the account? Even if I was having a business on eBay or Etsy or Amazon, I would still be doing social media to drive traffic to those platforms anyways. Like I wouldn't stop doing that, but the content of that social stuff needs to work. Back into your questions, I work on small profit margins. Small profit margins are potentially a problem. So I don't need a gougy profit margin. I need the right profit margin. So if you're working on small margins, typically you're high volume. Grocery stores work on small margins, but they deal in high volume. If you're not dealing in high volume, small profit margins are very, very hard to manage because I don't have enough to actually sustain the business. If I have to do a lot of work for only a little bit of reward, it's hard to do that over and over and over again. Very difficult. So I need the right profit margin. I don't mean like we're not selling, if we're selling a commodity in bulk, I can have small margins because I do a lot of quantity. If I don't have a lot of quantity, I need something that's priced actually reasonably in the market. You don't need to be tech savvy. Like I definitely don't want that tech savvy. If someone wants to buy the necklace, a Shopify store out of the box will allow that person to buy that necklace. There's not like a bunch of stuff that you've got to configure. I just need good quality photos. I need good quality social media account. I need things simple. Typically jewelry sites are very, very, very like clean cut. So lots of white space. We're just highlighting the product. So we don't need like fancy designs. I don't need like a bunch of graphic design work in it. I need like good quality product photos. I need the product actually on a person, on a neck, on a finger, on an ear. I need that like in where the product's going to be found. So like there's normally what you're experiencing is super common when someone goes, hey, I'm switching from a marketplace into owned. But yes, 18.6% a cut is like really, really, really normal. And then I would increase, like everything's gone up. And I know that it's like nice that you're trying to keep things affordable and whatnot. Jewelry is a luxury. Jewelry is a luxury. This isn't bread. You're not selling socks. You're not selling necessities. You're selling luxury items. I would price your products effectively. I would look at what the competition is, and then I would be doing social media a lot better in terms of making it social. If your prices are competitive, like your post says, if your prices are competitive, but your profit margins are really small, it's a very hard industry to compete in. Very, very difficult. So if there's no money in the product, and it's also super competitive, that does not bode well for like a good business and that's just being frank. It's very difficult to succeed when there's no money and there's lots of competition. And if that's it, it's very difficult. I love the fact that you're doing it because you love it. There's lots of businesses, like if you're turning that in, I love hearing that. You should love it. This is the first post I've read where someone said like, I'm running a business and I love it. So like big kudos to that. That's why we do it. I don't hear it often enough, but I want you to do it as best as you possibly can. The sales are probably because you're not attracting enough traffic. I need more traffic. Cool. Let's get into the next one. We are, oh, this is interesting. Okay. We're going to get into some of my favorites. How to leverage AI for content creation, SEO marketing, and show up in large language model searches. Okay, we've answered this one a few times. How can we leverage AI to streamline content creation, customer service, website copywriting, etc.? Also, if large language models scrape the whole internet, and is how most people search now instead of Google search, is PR now a top priority so my content and products show up in multiple websites? Does domain authority matter to LLMs? Or is it more about accuracy of satisfying the user's search query, quantity of times or content shows up across the internet, any AI tools to assess it? Okay, like, great questions. They are definitely, so I hope you're not a small business, because if you're a small business, I wouldn't worry about this at all. So perfectly fine. If you're a larger business and you have the advantage and you've got the time and money to invest in this, cool, congratulations, you're doing something right. So how can I use AI to streamline content creation? You can use it to generate ideas. I would not use AI to generate content. We have the strong opinion that search engines are going to crack down on AI generated content and devalue that. If it's generated by a robot and you're not actually generating it by like an actual expert, the search engines don't like that. That's gonna, and again, I don't have anything backing this up, but again, Google does not want to lose out to ChatGPT. It's not going to prioritize that content. It's going to try and keep its user base intact. You can use AI to like assist you with writing. It can create a draft for you. It can create ideas for you. It can do a bunch of things quickly. You still need a human touch for it. A small business doesn't need to produce that much content. So like these are marginal savings. You don't need to put out a blog post every day. You don't need to put out 10 a day. Like that's not the point of a small business. Even a large business is not putting out 20 AI articles a day. That would just be bad. And again, it's super easy for a robot to actually tell, like, wow, this is just all auto-generated stuff. Great. There are tools to help with customer service. So if you've got a customer service problem, so like big time, if you have one customer service inquiry a day, AI is not the answer. If you've got a chatbot that's fielding a whole bunch of inquiries every hour, there are tools for that. There are specific tools. Gorgeous is one of them. There's like lots of AI chatbots and things like that. But based on the cost of those things, you actually need to show some benefit. So you're not going to use like a third-party plugin unless you've already got the need for customer service. Cool. So like, yeah, if you're dealing with a lot of inquiries, you might need to automate it. Probably not still though. It's like nothing is more frustrating than when I go to a website and I click on the chatbot and it's like, I just want to talk to a person. You're going to sell me something. Talk to a person. If I can't talk to a person and I'm now like 13 things in, it's like this wasn't actually any benefit. I don't want to do this. And you can experience that yourself. Website copywriting, yeah. I'll say ChatGPT again, but there's many of them. They're really good at copywriting. If you need help creating product descriptions, you can absolutely get some help writing content. Please proofread it. Please make it sure it's true. Make it good. Make sure it's on brand. But yeah, it can definitely help you with copywriting. It can definitely help you writing emails. So if you're doing email marketing and you can great, it's gonna help you craft some awesome content that way. But again, with copywriting, you're gonna say like, hey, write me a thing for this. And then you're gonna prompt it a bunch of times to actually get it to go because you've entered with a problem. I need a paragraph, I need 300 words for this specific thing. So problem and solution, it's good at problem and solution. If LLMs scrape the entire internet and most people search from now like Google, this is really interesting. So I would put no stock into this at all. Your like PR has always kind of been a top priority. It's just not a small business friendly tool. So like if you wanted to work with a PR agency and put out articles and do like get into the paper and do all that stuff, that's super cool. If you've got budget for that, that's great. It is useful. It is definitely useful for like product launches, for openings, for things like that. For just the mundane stuff from a small business, I wouldn't focus on it at all. Like we're definitely in the weeds here. Does domain authority matter for LLMs? They don't say. You can actually look at what LLMs measure. They're going to tell you a little bit. It's the same thing. Their algorithms are not going to be public. Domain authority is typically very, very useful because like you can't just artificially create domain authority. So there's a bunch of work that has to happen to actually get DA higher. So potentially, I would say there's a potential there, but again, unless you're getting that information directly from the large language model saying it's important, I wouldn't. Domain authority is just good in general. So if you can get a high DA score, awesome. Again, it's not something you can just artificially enhance. And most small businesses, you're going to have like an okay score at the best anyways, because you're not the New York Times. You're not going to be like the place to get stuff. So having it okay or good is fantastic. Focusing on it, probably not a good idea. Any AI tools to I would be, again, problem solution. AI is just a tool. Have it help you write stuff. I wouldn't be using it for any kind of image generation yet. Like it's too finicky for that. We use AI in a few places. We use AI for our meetings. So when we meet with clients, we use an AI to generate summaries. It's wildly effective for like summarizing content, for giving recaps, generating lists. Like it's really, really useful tool for that. Outside of that, it's still like super new. This is like an emerging technology. So like most emerging technologies are not small business friendly. And if we're trying to just like game the system, get into like I would say like you better be doing something like really, really well and good on the back end of this for your folks. It's hard to recommend tools without a problem. Search query quantity times to show up. Yeah. They're not public about this. I haven't read anywhere that the LLMs are putting anything about this. If they were to be public about it, it would get gamified immediately. So like I wouldn't count on it. Again, no free lunch out there. Like there's no quick wins. Like I wish there was. There's no quick wins to like get into an LLM, a large language model search, and then magically we're at the top. Wish that was the case. Actually, I don't wish that was the case because it would just make the entire internet worse. Ah, good. This is an interesting one. Any tips for social media engagement? Hi there, I just started advertising on social media. I'm not really sure how to create interesting and engaging videos to advertise my product. Okay, we've got a little bit more here. I started selling model cars to put on the dashboard, advertise on. Social media got around 1,000 views, but no sales. I want to learn how to advertise videos, put a lot of views and convert to sales. Previously, I tried to access the Twitch stream, but couldn't get in. Okay, cool. Yeah, the Twitch stream only opens up during the AMA. Cool. I'm going to get Summertime Pink. Actually, let's come back to that one, right? I'm going to finish this and I'm going to come back to your question in chat. Social media engagement. Okay, you're a small business. You're a small business owner. I assume you're not the CEO of Coca-Cola in this AMA. If you are, sweet, but you're probably not. Social media's got to be social, which means people. Have people in your content. You probably showed up to this because there was a live person answering your question. If I was just like a chatbot, you'd go like, why the heck am I going to interact with this chatbot? There's no value. I'm going to interact with a person. The person's been doing it for a little while. They probably know a thing or two. Cool. You do the same thing in social media. Get in front of your user. It doesn't need to be, you need to be a celebrity. It doesn't even need to be like your face on the camera. You need a person though. So whether you're modeling clothing, whether you're showing off a toy car, whether you're opening packs of trading cards, whether you're unwrapping a box, like I need a person in the content. People like watching people. If there's no people in the content, like I haven't seen a commercial in a long time. So think about like watching traditional television or like the ads you get on your like Amazon Prime subscription. Like every commercial has people in it, or a dog, or something else, something interactive. There's like a thing and the product you're selling. And that's the whole goal, is I need a person interacting with a thing, with your product. So the first thing is if I'm selling cars, I want like the person to walk through this, and you've got it. This is like a 1:17 replica model, and I'm gonna put it around, and like the bottom is, and I'm gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna like the wheel and this and that and the other thing, and I'm gonna actually interact with the product. It's gonna give a whole bunch more confidence. It's gonna actually like replicate the experience of like someone doing it themselves because they can't, because we're online. And I'm gonna have to get creative here. This is like why marketing is fun for some, is because you need to apply a creative lens to this. So if you don't have a creative bone in your body, some people don't, that's okay. It's gonna be really difficult for you to be good at marketing. If you're super creative, you probably have other like weaknesses and strengths, and you're a person. This is where you kind of get to shine. So I would be working with someone that's creative. I would be looking at other channels. So like other people's channels on what they are doing. So find the Michael Jordan in your industry. Find the person that's just killing it. And then I'm going to consume that content. I'm going to do that market research and figure out why that's good. And that means like actually diving into the industry. What are they doing? How are they doing it? And I need to end up stealing inspiration to do it in your own brand values now. So I don't need to do this from scratch. Good ideas are like really hard to come by. So I'm gonna take what's working. So if I was to go into YouTube and find their like top 25 most engaged with videos, I'm gonna start there and go, why was that really good? What did they say? What got a hold? Read the comments, like dive in. And that's what a marketing agency would do. They're gonna go like, here's the content we need to create, and here's why. And that is going into the market and figuring out what's in demand and then producing that in a creative way. And that should be seen as fun. If you hate doing that, get that work off your plate and get that onto someone else's, like get that work into someone who loves its hands. If you hate doing social media, but you know you need it, find someone else to do it. You did not get into business to do things that you hate doing. So like do more of what you love and hire someone or get someone's help that loves the part that you hate. Make sense? But yes, you definitely need to look at what the industry is doing well, follow suit. It doesn't mean copy to a T. I'm saying steal inspiration. Steal it, take it. Good artists steal, and good artists steal inspiration. Don't copy their video word for word, because it's not gonna work. You're not them. Cool? Cool. Question in chat. Hi, do you recommend backlinks and influencers to promote small starting online businesses? Okay, maybe. So like influencers, this is a good chat. This is a good question. So like influencers are just commission salespeople. So like fine, they can do a lot of good. It's hit and miss with influencers. So I'd be checking their engagement rate. So like I want to remove influencer and just say salesperson. Would it be good to hire a salesperson to sell your product? Probably. The quality of influencer or the quality of the salesperson depend on that person. So ideally what you're trying to say is, I have a salesperson in the industry that I'm trying to sell in, and they've got a lot of connections. It doesn't mean they're going to get a bunch of sales, but I would form a relationship with that person. Maybe you do a small campaign, maybe not. But I would start with, I need a relationship with that salesperson. Cool? Backlinks. Okay, for everyone who's not familiar with a backlink is when another website links to your website. Cool. We all want them. I wouldn't pay for them. Paying for them is really scammy and it doesn't actually do anything. There's lots of great ways to get more backlinks. You can be featured in the news. You can do collaborations with other businesses. You can actually go out into the world and talk to people and get them to do can I put my link, when there's a trade show, can you put the link to my website on the trade show vendor list? There's all kinds of organic ways to get more backlinks. I'd focus on those. Buying backlinks as a small business, probably a waste of your time. So if I spend $1,000 to get some backlinks, I would love that person that's selling backlinks to say, this $1,000 is going to generate $2,000 in revenue. But they won't. They'll say, yeah, but your link is going to be here, and great. And that's what you're going to get, and that's really not small business friendly. Where would you find commission salesperson for wellness tea? Cool. There's a whole bunch of them. So where do all the other tea shops buy their tea from? So there's a giant B2B play there. So can I get featured in, how do I get my product in store? Is there a tea conglomerate that people are buying tea from? There's I live in Guelph. There are 14 tea shops here. There's high tea, there's stuff that's quick, there's stuff that they just retail. I would work the B2B stuff first, going, great, can I get my product in store? That's where I'd start first. And then typically they're gonna build out a relationship from that point. I do not know how to get backlinks. Again, backlinks are just your website linked somewhere else. So someone else's site has your link in it. So typically that comes from working with people. So I don't know much about your business, but I'm working with another person to build content. So it's typically from a collaboration. You see this in the craft beer space. You see this in the food space. You see this all over the place. All over the place. Hey, so-and-so is gonna be at our market. Come check them out on Saturday. And they'll link to your URL will be featured on their content. That's a backlink. So it's not how to get them is having relationships. So the more relationships you have, the better. Again, paying for relationships is hard to do and a little bit sketchy. But good question. Where do you find commission salesperson for wellness tea? Again, get it in store. Get your product into store. Get it on the shelf. Get a bunch of social media content. If it's featured on someone else's shelf, there's a lot of credibility there. If you can't get it on the shelf in someone's store, there's going to be other problems. Next question. B2B on the same site as B2C with tax-free sales for third countries. Okay, wow, this is an interesting one, okay? I've been trying to find a solution for B2B on the site, so there's a seamless way customers can input their VAT to purchase tax-free when buying from another country and is a business. I tried apps like Exemplify, but the solution is not satisfactory. The design of the widget is horrible and customers have to go to checkout and back to the shop. Yep, for that. They do not see at first sight. There are issues with the invoice in Shopify not doing the transaction. Okay, the tax rate is not shown incorrectly. Okay, I'm just skimming through this because it's a little bit dense. Actually, best the customer service central time referred. Okay. B2B commerce. There's like I live on LinkedIn. Your problem is you're trying to do too much with your website. B2B and a B2C website are two totally different websites. And then now we're trying to put a tax-free for third countries or secondary countries on top of that. Cool. Shopify does have a product for this. It's really expensive. It's called Shopify Plus. It does an okay job at this. And I say okay. There's no like amazing B2B commerce platform out there until you get to like very expensive stuff. So great. I would try to handle the B2B inquiries manually until like you can't do it, and then I'd hire someone to manage that relationship. Typically B2B sales are like of a higher value, which you don't want to process with credit cards anyways. I'm going to take a money order. I'm going to take something else. I'm going to draw up a purchase order, a PO. I'm going to sell it to you, and I'm going to wait for a certified check because I'm not giving away 3% to credit card transaction. So like I would do more manual B2B sales to start until you get to a bigger size, and then keep the B2C site alone. So B2B stuff, you should just be able to handle yourself. If you've got so many B2B orders that you're just bogged down, congratulations, your sales are just killing it. I have nothing but good things to say. Hire a salesperson. You're at the stage now where I hire internally. You've got so much B2B work. Great. If you don't have that much B2B work, do it manually. Do it manually till you can't do it because there's no great solutions there. As you're finding out, the B2B solution marketplace isn't very good. It's a laggard. There's like people, like most larger business that are purchasing want the old school purchasing way where I pick up the phone or I send an email, I'm gonna send you a purchase order and I'm gonna do like money to escrow, wire transfer, check, something like that because the orders are big. Plus they're not putting that amount of purchase on a credit card period. They're not doing a $10,000 purchase through credit card unless they must. And even if they must, you don't wanna be eating 3% of that for nothing. So do it manually. I would be handling the VAT manually. Capture their number, store it on file. I'd be using a CRM to handle that. So you use something like Airtable, HubSpot, Salesforce. I'd be using a CRM to manage that, not an e-commerce platform to handle that. There are apps that are a little bit good, like you can use like protected pricing and tiered pricing and things like that through Shopify. It's just not great. They're like okay at best. So I have a hard time recommending them because the learning curve is large and it's not a great solution. So I would say don't have a B2B site and mix it with a B2C site as a small business. That's really, really hard to do. And the development cost on that, like if you were to hire us to do it, that's a lot of money. And we'd be trying to talk you out of it. We'd be actively saying, don't do this. We wouldn't do it ourselves. Again, I would hire a person to manage those relationships and run those sales, and I get back focusing on sales, not focusing on building a website to try and do it all. And again, you're experiencing this. You're not alone here. Exactly what you've said in this. There's every other person has got these same problems. So too much on the website, not enough in like traditional what the business is doing. And then I'd have standards for your B2B relationships. What's the minimum order quantity? All of that stuff. Right? Like you get B2B pricing, you're gonna get wholesaler distributor pricing, your margin's gonna be gone. So like why am I giving more margin away to platform plus credit card? So I need to know more, but like, yeah, that's a good question. We get this all the time. We work with a bunch of B2B companies. It's like, again, is what it is. But good question. Good question. Another one in chat. To promote your products on Pinterest, how much do you recommend spending per day on ads, considering that you have a small business just starting out? And is it okay to be explicitly a seller? Yeah. again, if user persona, if your users are on Pinterest, go to where they are. We have to meet the customers where they are. So if you've identified that Pinterest is where my customer is, I've got to go in that market. Here's how you test that. Create a Pinterest account and post a bunch of content and see if you gain traction. Because if you're telling me your customers are there, your profile should be doing well. If your profile is not doing well with organic content, it's not going to probably do well with paid content. We advertise on Pinterest. We've got like a partner Pinterest account. Cool. Spending per day. This is a great question that hasn't come up in the chat, so I want to answer this. Spending per day is unique to the company and the products. If you've got good margin, I would be increasing my advertising, but my daily budget, because I can now go, I can sell more. I want a smaller piece of a larger pie. I want to sell, now have volume. I can give away a little bit to get a lot. If your products already have tight margin, it means where does the advertising money come from? And I would say, yeah, maybe we can't do that. The money per day has to go down. You post a bunch of content, but yeah, I'm here. I'm answering you. Again, if we're not getting good traction, you're not going to get good traction in paid. Like the posts have to be good. Next question. Cool. Starfall. Have made website. What next? Hi, we have launched our website and got amazing day one sales. Congratulations. How do we keep reaching new customers? Any tips? Okay, great. How do I keep reaching new customers? This is sales. This is like marketing and sales. I need to reach more people. So I don't know what you sell. I wish you had given me a little bit more around what you sold so I could be a little more specific with this. But cool. How do I reach more people? That's advertising. I need more eyeballs. And that is going to where your customers are. So it's really hard to make customers come to us. They don't know us. We're a brand new brand. We've only existed for a little while. No one knows about us. Lots of people are going to know about us in 10 years, but like no one knows about us today because we're tiny. So I've got to get in front of them. So I've got to use all the tools to increase my discoverability, because people have to know about us in order to buy from us. So I've got to use all the tools in my toolbox to say, where are my customers? Where's my desired audience? And then what tools work effectively in those ecosystems? So who they are, where they are, and then what tools are effective to them. That's where I need to go. And I can't give you too much more without knowing more about your industry, the products you sell, things like that, but that's it. Know your customer, go to where they are, talk to them. That's it. That's how we get new customers in like the shortest amount of time. Cool. Next one. Next question. Okay. This is an interesting one. Worldwide shipping affiliate program and Google Analytics. Hello, sorry, I've got a few questions and I'll try to summarize as much as possible. No problem. I don't mind multiple questions. We started a week ago and I've sold a few items already, but we're having some issues with the following, okay? Worldwide shipping. This is a crazy one. I've set it as free shipping everywhere, I think the right way. None of my customers managed to check out with a foreign account. You're based in Italy. Could you please help me understand why this is and what I should do? So worldwide shipping, that's wild from a small business standpoint. Offering worldwide shipping is it's more complicated than it sounds. Firstly, I've got to charge the right amount of tax based on where someone is purchasing. So I would rather you start smaller. Like, you're based in Italy. Do you sell your products in Italy? Do you sell your products in the EU? Is there like, if I need to have a global business to start, this is not a good business. I would rather say, like, can I win locally being countrywide, and expand from there? There's enough people in Italy, like pick a country, there's enough customers in that one country to sustain your business before you grow. So great, worldwide shipping is really hard. I'm in Canada, we sell product. It's like really hard to get something from Canada to like even in Canada, it's 5,000 kilometers away. So like those shipping charges are going to have to be met by someone. So, and it's not the same to ship to Alaska or Hawaii or into anywhere else. Like you're gonna have to dial that in somehow. Typically that's working with a shipping provider. So like, great, who is your shipping provider that's offering worldwide shipping? They should be getting you some shipping rates. Cool. I'm going to, and free shipping, this is wild because if you sell a product and you offer free shipping and if someone purchases it in Hawaii, you will lose money. If they buy it in Alaska, you will lose money. If they buy it in Japan, you will lose money. If they buy it in Australia, the shipping charges to get something to Australia are massive. From Italy to Australia, it'll be more than your product is worth. So that you really have to dial that back and figure out what am I actually charging. Shipping rates. I can ship within Italy, and your rates are much better than the ones I have. However, I was wondering if once I get to worldwide shipping, I will also be able to ship abroad. I'm based in Italy, but mostly selling in Canada, US. Yeah, so there's like two options here. One, you import a bunch of product to Canada and the US, and you work with a 3PL, a third-party logistics provider. So typically that's like a warehouse. I import a bunch of stuff from Italy, and it lands at a warehouse, and that's like my distribution center, and you're gonna have like a little small spot in a warehouse, and they'll like ship it at that point, and that cuts down on like the total fees because now we're breaking them out against a whole bunch of them. It cuts down the shipping times because it's already domestically landed, the duties paid, everything's there, and it's just waiting to ship. And then now they can actually give you an accurate rate because now I've got a central location that's going to do. So that's like the most common shipping practice is I'm going to import product, it's going to be housed at a 3PL, and they're going to deliver it, and like now I'm shipping a container over. Cool. That's working with that 3PL. They will tell you what their shipping rates are. Some of them have an API that integrates with Shopify. Some of it's manual. It all depends on that shipping provider. You need to talk to that shipping provider. Cool. I'd like to set this up for affiliate programs. I'd like to set this up, and there's two questions. Is it normal to tell the applicants to buy the jacket and then earn commissions? No, that is not normal. Making a person buy the product first is gonna no affiliate is doing that. They're not gonna buy the jacket and then they're gonna like sell it at that point. That's like the definition of like a multi-level marketing scheme. Like, oh, buy our product and then you can sell our product. Typically, I'm gonna treat that third-party salesperson as a third party. I'm gonna provide you the tools to do the job, and if you decide to leave, I want the tools back. So you want the jacket? Most brands don't even want it back. I want you to wear the jacket or the thing that I'm giving you, and I want you to use it. And that's part of your marketing budget. I'm gonna give you a thing away, and you're gonna use that tool for the job. And if they were good enough to use that tool for the job, like I want them walking around with it. It's like a walking billboard with your brand on it. Cool. So like, is it normal to tell applicants to buy the jacket and then earn? No. Typically, like they're gonna get the tools to the job and that's it, or they're gonna have to give it back. General recommendations on setup, percentage, etc. That's gonna be based on who the influencer or the salesperson is. If they've got a huge following, they're gonna tell you how much they charge. They're gonna say like, here's my audience. If you wanna work with me, here's how much it costs. And typically it's not just commission. Typically it's like, yeah, it's gonna be this much plus X. So it's like $1,000 to work with me, and then I want X percentage. They're gonna tell you. And then that's gonna, like, if they're pros, that's what's gonna happen. If there are a bunch of amateurs and you can set the terms, I wouldn't expect good results. The percentages need to make sense for you based on how much margin you got on the product. But that's typically how that works. Google Analytics, I've tried connecting Google Analytics to the website, but it says the URL is not valid. I've tried contacting them, but no help. Yeah, it might sound like you need some technical support there. Connecting Google Analytics to a Shopify store is really, really easy. You need a Google Analytics account. You get what's called a data stream. It's gonna have like a G and then a dash and then a number. Cool. And then you go into Shopify and you give it that number, and then it's like not even that hard. It's like, so I don't know what problems you're having there. I get it, it's technical. If you're not used to it, that's fine. But yeah, having the Google Analytics, the GA4 account is like really easy to set up. So you're actually probably even before that, if you're saying that URL is not valid, there's a problem on the Google side, not on the Shopify side. So like you're gonna need some help for that. Back into just looking at this, even if you don't have any sales, but you get traffic to your website, do you gain authority? Will Google eventually know? Google doesn't care if you've got sales or not, because most websites don't sell anything. Every service-based company doesn't sell anything. So if I'm an electrician, or if I'm a consultant, there is no e-commerce sale. There's no transaction happening online. Domain authority is not based on whether you sell something or not. Like you could just offer, like most other there's tons of websites out there that are just like, they don't sell anything but ads. It's a blog, and all that is, they're running Google AdSense and they just sell ads. There's no transaction, period. So yeah, do you get traffic? Do you gain authority? Yeah, but it's not, domain authority is not based on, sales. It's based on a whole bunch of factors. Again, the domain authority factors, you can Google this. The domain authority factors are public-ish. They tell you what they're looking for. They don't tell you how the algorithm is weighted. And they're transparent about all of them. It's like, again, from a small business, I would not worry about domain authority at all. At all. 0% of your time as a small business should go into domain authority. Deep water, no practical use at all. If someone's trying to sell you something like from a small business, it's just like, that's not good time investment. It's not good money investment, it's not good time investment. It's not, it will help your sales, but it's not really gonna help your sales. This one is gonna be super, give me a second, this one might be too, I'm just looking at this. Issues with missing assets and purchase the Shopify theme. All of the, if you went through the Shopify theme store, you should be able to go through support to get this solved. So like, I'm just looking at this question. I'm not going to answer it fully. We're not the theme builders. We don't have any themes on the Shopify theme store. You're going to have to go back to whoever you bought it from, and then they should have some support there. Since it's a licensed theme, go back through customer service for that for sure. Definitely not. Shopify really won't even help you with that. It's gonna be right from the theme builder. Let's get into this next one. Summertime pick. I don't really get when you say like, but something has to work, right? Something has to work about what? Like again, focusing on domain authority is just not something that you should focus on. I'd be focusing on like everything else. More social media followers, more organic social media content going out, more of like everything to do with like getting more website traffic that you can control. Small businesses get this like, I need to control where my leads are coming from. So like I'd be putting that same, if you're working with a provider and it's $300 a month for SEO, it's like, great, that's $3,600 a year. Are you getting $3,600 a year of value, or should I go to a market? Or should I go all of the extra value there? Can I get my product into someone's store? Can I build a B2B relationship? What can I do for the same money that's gonna have more impact? What can I do to get my product into more hands? I can use that same amount of money and do a whole bunch of free samples, and I'll get more value out of focusing on domain authority. Like, it is a good idea to do like an audit once in a while to make sure nothing bad's happening, but like that would be that. Next question from Luke Audio. Thanks for the question, Luke. Driving high intent customers to website. I love it already. Hi, what are the best and most cost-effective ways to drive traffic to your store that has a high intention of purchase with a new product? So all customers are cold. Just a general thought on what you see. Okay, this is a great question. So we've got two types of products out there. There are products and services that people know about, like plumbing. Everyone knows what a plumber does, and when your faucet's leaky or your toilet doesn't work, you kind of know who to call. So there's nothing novel about it. There's nothing like new to being a plumber. And it's the same thing for the people that are using the parts. People know what a toilet is. They know where I can go to the store to buy a toilet. I don't have to tell people what a toilet is. There's nothing novel about it. Luke here has something that people don't know about, which is like a novel product. There is no search happening for this product. Super common. I've invented something new. Maybe it's not even new, but it's new to the market. I'm importing something from another place where it's super common, and here it's new, but there's no search happening for it. So cool, like there's probably a market for it, but there's no search. I need to then become discoverable. So we've got two, let's talk about the two advertising channels. I've got Google search, so Google ads. Someone types in product XYZ near me, they know what they're looking for, and now Google is matching that search to a bunch of providers. And that's where the SEO comes in. It's not something novel. People know what they're looking for, and Google's gonna give them what they're looking for. People can't search what they don't know about. So Google ads are not gonna be effective this way. You're gonna need to use a discovery tool. That would be like social media. That's gonna be like a meta ad. That's gonna be something like to do on Pinterest, Reddit, Instagram, TikTok. It's gonna be where people don't know that things are new and they're going around their daily user experience, and now I'm gonna inject something new into them. In order to do that successfully, I still need a bunch of other user persona-esque things. So is the product geared towards men or women? Is it geared towards children? Is it geared towards a homeowner? Is it geared to a car enthusiast? It needs to be associated with some type of person in order for that ad platform to match your creative, your ad, into the right version of people. So if I've got like a car mod or something new that I think this type of person likes, I need to know as much about that person as possible, because although they're not going to search for it, I need to make the platform match my ad to the right audience. So high intent. High intent is great. We're always looking for high intent. And again, the Google search is super high intent. Plumber near me. There's the highest intent you can get is that I'm searching for the plumber. I'm searching for the toilet. I'm searching for a bath fan. I'm searching for wax for my car. I'm telling it what I want. Highest intent possible. You're not going to experience that because it's new. So I've got to get to like the next best thing, which is like a lookalike audience, a product that often goes with your product. So like 2 and 2 go together. So if they're searching for this thing, there's high likelihood that they could use your thing. So I'm going to try and find all of those things that are kind of matchy with your new novel thing. And then I've got to build content around that. You might not have any related hashtags. You might have some. You're going to be like industry related hashtags. You're going to have some things, but it's not going to be perfect. This is a very cool place to play because typically there's less competition, but you've got other challenges. And on the online space, if there's no real competition, it's just about you like executing and being creative to get that rolling. And if you've got that like first mover advantage where you're kind of like the first crack at this, some cool things can happen. Hard to do. Most small business owners thrive on demand already being in the market. Where like I know there's a bunch of customers and demand is not being met. And now you're introducing new supply that the demand can buy. If you're a small business and you don't know if there's demand, there's just more risk. More risk, more reward, but more risk. And this is like true of everyone. We always want to be driving the customers with the most amount of intent. The last thing I want to do is drive someone to the website that has low intent. It's just a waste. So like that could be like the advertising not targeting the right people, the ad not doing an effective communicating effectively the product values, not having like, there's like lots and lots of stuff there. But great question. Great question. Back into it. We're gonna do like one more and then we'll wrap up because we're like 10. Where did those 2 hours go? The next one, shipping costs. Let's do this one. This is an interesting question. Shipping costs by Duber. What hope exists, if any, for the vendors to absorb at least some of the shipping costs? They could just write it off much easier than a small business could do without hurting their profitability due to increased volume of people willing to open a shop. add products to shops, etc. Okay, they're never going to do this. There's no business out there. So like, here's where I'm reading this. If you've got a business and you have to import products or ship products, so does every other business. Period. Unless you're making it domestically, which would be a huge advantage, shipping is a huge cost. The more that gasoline goes up, the higher the shipping costs. Insurance goes up, higher the shipping costs. Labor goes up, minimum wage goes up, higher the shipping costs. Taxes on transportation, higher the shipping costs. There's no way to get those shipping costs down unless you're doing lots of volume. There's no way for the vendor to say to you, if you buy my product in bulk, maybe you like you could say, like, if I buy enough of it, they're going to give you a discount because you're a good customer. But they're not interested. Most businesses are not interested in cutting their logistics costs. That's Amazon. Amazon did that. They're like the only one. Amazon in like super heavily invested in their infrastructure to cut like the cost of shipping. Great. And they're crushing it. And everyone laughed at them until they weren't laughing at them anymore. If they're a smaller provider, they can't do that. They are a vendor, and they're going to say, great, here's the shipping provider we use, and the cost is the cost. There is no, they could just write it off. That means they had to have like the revenue there in the first place. So unless you're like interested in like, yeah. So like this is just like if everyone's experiencing this, prices go up. This is how inflation happens. This is why the cost of goods go up. This is why like when you go to the store, apples are higher because the truck that had to get the apples from the farm to the grocery store, things are higher. It's unfortunate. A lot of this goes back to like government policy, taxes, fuel costs, like general capitalism. Great, if they can charge more, they will. They're not interested. Without hurting profitability. Well, as soon as it's just a write-off, it's going to hurt profitability. Willing to open a shop. You shouldn't add products to shops. That's not how this works. We shouldn't be viewing it like that. We're not just adding products to shops willy-nilly. It's, here's the cost of doing business. Can I make that happen? They're not interested in doing that. And again, I haven't met or seen or talked to any vendors that are like, yeah, we're going to try and compete on this. They're just hard costs. Hard costs. In a different world maybe, but yeah, very interesting. That is it, everyone. We're close to 1. I'm gonna kind of wrap this up. If you wanted to book a meeting with me, I'm gonna give you a link here. I'll give you the whole spiel. If you've got a burning question, or if you want to get into something that's more specific, we do a lot of that. We're open to that. If you'd like to book a zero cost introductory strategy session with me, that's super cool. I'm going to give you a link that you can go to. I'm going to give you a couple of links actually. One is going to be connect with me on social media. The other is going to be to connect and actually have a strategy session. So there's me. If you'd like to book a complimentary strategy session, you can do that right there. You're going to end up meeting with me. We're going to go through like some of your burning questions, talk about your business goals a whole bunch. Maybe if you've got some problems identified, that would be super sweet. Otherwise, I'm going to give you my LinkedIn where I hang out. And you absolutely feel free to connect with me there. We are doing another workshop, AMA, I call this a workshop, an AMA next month. I wish I had the topic for you. I do, but I've completely forgotten it, to be fully transparent. It's the last, that one will be the last Tuesday, or the third Tuesday of the month. So we are looking at, I'll actually tell you the topic right now, because that seems like a fair thing to do. It's happening the 24th, June 24th from 11 to 1. We're going to do something on organic marketing, budgeting, and grants. We're going to do some like small business grants. So we're going to see about getting some government assistance to help your business. So like a very fun one. We're not experts across the entire ecosystem of grants. Like we don't help people capture grants in New Zealand. But if you're in North America, we might have some cool stuff for you. Otherwise, can we repeat our call? I don't know what that means. Can we repeat our call? you can just book a conversation with me and we can have a brand new call about absolutely anything you'd like. But yeah, right there, you can just book it with me and we can chat about essentially your business and your goals. Otherwise, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm at. You can follow 2H Media. You can do a whole bunch of things, but there's too many links already. Otherwise, next month's going to be, again, another very fun workshop, another AMA. I wish you all the very, very best for your business. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and I will see you soon.